Hello Maplers, how are you guys doing? It's me, I'm Mumu, and you know what today is? Market Mondays. Yes, it's another new environment. I'm at my friend's house right now. There's a lot of cute stuff here, and yeah, we're just gonna get right into it. So, first things first, this is North America West. So right away, you can just look right here. I also labeled the low and highs, kind of like, the stock market, and I also placed the averages. I guess I didn't really incorporate the skewed values, but just take the values for what they are. There's a big change in the chaos onyx. I have noticed that after Thursday, I don't know if people are kind of afraid of or avoiding doing dungeons. The amount of chaos onyx has been decreasing consumption through, enchanting your legendary gear in general. And moving right down, all the good fluctuations are obsidian essence. I expected there would be a spike on Thursday because again, that's the reset. So a lot of people are trying to get that stellar glass, turn it into gem dust. Kind of reach a peak right on Thursday, but it's kind of just leveling out. And again, this is due to the world bossing has kind of died out a little bit. Rest of the keys stayed about the same. I didn't really do much in terms of, I'm not going to talk too much about the assistant items because you can just go ahead and straight look at that and then again use the Jace item cross comparison if you are interested in assistants. But for most other people, assistants are not going to matter unless you want to kind of do some flipping or flipping and selling in that aspect. Yeah, red daisies somehow hit a 15K. Got to keep in mind some of the values that are a lot higher during some parts of the day or during a specific time. There's a 48-hour posting limit. So after the posting limit, all of those postings will be removed. And it's really interesting that a lot of the people kind of have that reset time around the same time. Interestingly enough, whetstones have been increasing in North America West. I think it's due to because people are trying to do CPAP more. So even though in my previous video I said that perhaps Blake's items are not good, maybe they are because again, prices of the whetstones are increasing because again, through the consumption of the CPAP and CMOC. People, the high level players want that extra little bit of boost of attack or defense. So this is why it's necessary. And then moving down, there's been a big spike in North America West in terms of savagery cape boxes too. So as you look right here, there was a big spike on Thursday, but again, I'm not. It's probably because of the 2-day posting, so just ignore that. So about the average price, it's been fluctuating pretty wildly. So what you could be doing is on some days you could invest a lot of your mesos and do the lottery style. If you're just looking to sell, then perhaps it might be best on just to check the prices because there's quite a big range. So for you to make the most mesos, it might be good to hold on to it or leave the posting at 170K. So, because it's going to be bought out anyways, because the prices are fluctuating, so that means there's still some consumption or purchasing at those prices. And I also started keeping track of the B4s just to kind of see if there's any major moves that would affect the prices of B4s. Just for those who don't know, B4s are a good way of getting gemstones and as well as the accessory reroll scrolls. And moving right on down, the reason why I'm tracking the special herb is to have that cross comparison with all of the items that are produced from Jace. Red herbs are actually one of the better items because it's one of the cheapest because it's about 700 initially, and I guess people started noticing that's a pretty good value, so it spiked up to about 3K, now averaging about 1K in the past few days. So if you take a second to look at Jace, for each of the special herbs, it's 1680 for only 1K. Well, it's generally what I consider the best, but again, this varies depending on the server, so you have to do the cross comparison yourself. But back to this, pets have been really fluctuating a lot. So back for North America West, the prices of pets for everything except for, overall, I think people are starting to farm pets a lot more. Either that or the demand is kind of decreasing or slowing down because once people have acquired their epic pet, it's oh, I don't really need it anymore. Or once you get to level 50, you don't really need any more pets. So, because once you're done, get your epic pet, that's the best right now. So it's kind of your cap. You're kind of done with that realm. But as you can see, it kind of dipped to 1.6K and then it floats around 3K for the rest of the week. And then as well as the rare and exceptional, they kind of dropped it a good 40%. So might be a good time right now to invest in pets. And as for potion solvents, again, I think it's very specific on that Thursday. I'm pretty sure after seeing this that it was kind of that 2-day posting reset because it had a really interesting spike. And again, I don't know if it's necessarily because of the weekly reset or it was just a 2-day reset. But it seems like it could be both. But yeah, just keep that in mind. And moving right on down. Yeah, so that's the rest of the assistant items. You can look at that yourself. So now on to North America East. It's really interesting when I look at these prices because it's really cool to see the variation of prices. like if you think about it, like who decided the initial price of something, and people just like started basing it off of it. For example, Chaos Onyx has always been 27K in North America East, and then it started spiking as well. So I think overall, in general, in the North America realm, we have just been focusing a lot on the legendary weapons. Makes sense because I would say that we're ahead of like South America and probably Oceania in that aspect. We're kind of further along in the progression, so that's why Chaos Onyx and Onyx, all the catalysts are being consumed right now because everybody's using it for the legendary stuff. And as you can also see, Obsidian had the craziest spikes on Thursday. So because I care about you guys the most, the best way to make some money, and I actually did this myself, I kind of like doubled my money. On Wednesday, right, I would buy everything at like 800. Like I would spend all my money, like basically a big gamble. I think it was like 6 million. I bought 6 million mesos worth of Obsidian essence, and then the next day it spiked. Crazy enough, North America East has like one of the craziest spikes. It went to like 2.5K. So someone could have made a lot of mesos, because that would have been triple your mesos. But yeah, again, that's just a nice highlight. Onyx increased about like 50% towards like the peak of the week, which again is around Friday, but it's still maintaining that price. So I guess Onyx is roughly still staying at 400 for North America East. Daisy is also kind of having a really wild fluctuation as well. And again, I'm not sure if because the postings got removed, because I did notice on Friday when I was checking the prices. And again, I apologize for the patches. I was a little gaps in my data. I'm away from my computer. Today specifically, that was maybe a good time to buy the daisies out too, because daisies is one of those items where it doesn't have a one-time trading limit. You could have bought all that all out and then start selling again on Sunday, which was yesterday, for 4K each. So that's also another way to profit from just buying and flipping. Keys I find interesting enough, like it kind of peaks sometimes towards the night times. I think that's because probably the amount of people trying to farm red keys is decreasing. But in my experience from North America West, when I try to go farm rusted keys at nighttime in the past, there's actually been a lot more people fighting, because I guess not a lot of people are doing dungeons or doing party like stuff, so they're usually mellowing out throughout the night just to kind of like AFK farm and watch anime like I do. Yeah, very similar. Whetstone's kind of spiked in price. Makes sense. Again, I think the focus of North America right now is trying to get CPAP like really, really solid. So all of the little buffs are worthwhile getting. For the savagery stuff, it also, again, represented the same kind of movement. So it's really interesting to see like this kind of market behavior kind of being replicated kind of throughout North America. Even though the prices are a little bit different in terms of movement, it's kind of the same. Another cool highlight is for the special orange herb and the special red herb, you have to keep it really, really low. That's, again, a really good HP to meso rate. So for those of you that kind of want a good alternative, special red herbs are good, again, if you're fighting monsters that aren't doing major damage to you. It's not going to be good for like major like chaos raids. Those potions will be mitigated by the debuff. Slowly people are getting their pets fully maxed out, so the prices are dipping very slightly, and or people are farming a lot more pets. G3s went up, are slowly decreasing, makes sense over time. More people are going to farm potion solvents to produce G3s, so that way just the supplies is going to decrease over time, and the more people are able to make G3s. Because it is a good way to make mesos, because back in the beginning, I think G3s were like 30K relative to potion solvents were 10K. So if you're able to make 1,000 of them, like you would be able to get 3 times your money, and which is really, really awesome. South America, I did notice that for the other servers, it's a little bit, they are in an earlier state of, I guess, progression. So for the Chaos Onyx, there hasn't been a quite as major move. And I think on Saturday, it may have been again a reset. In terms of posting, the supply wasn't abundant. Therefore, there was a spike on Saturday, but then it kind of dropped back to normal. So again, it's really representative of what players are trying to focus on. For meta cells, on Wednesday, it's probably again another 2-day reset, but the prices stay roughly around a K. If not, sometimes it dropped a little bit lower on Tuesday, but again, it's neither here nor there. Obsidian, it didn't have the most fluctuations, and then again, it has to do with progression, because think about if you're a player in South America, if people aren't focusing on the legendary stuff, then they're probably not focusing on gemstones either, because that's what Obsidian Essence is for. That's why Onyx, I think, is like cost a lot, and again, it's representing North America West back like in the earlier days. It's kind of cool to see kind of like a time, like a flash from the past in terms of a server's activity. The red daisies, it fluctuates a lot. If you take out the outliers, it stays roughly around like 4K. So I think, like I said before in my meso making controversy video, Red daisies, again, is a good way to make mesos, but again, it's not for everybody. So that's why the prices stay are now at 4K for whatever reason, but because people aren't farming it as much. And Rusty Keys, it's also the same thing. I think you guys may have started the pricing a little bit lower. It isn't nearly as high as it is in North America West. I'm not sure exactly in terms of some of these pricings being lower if people don't have as much mesos to afford it, so that's why the pricing was a little bit lower initially. And then it starts to kind of build its climb in terms of reflecting supply and demand. Because for special tonics, sometimes it dropped quite low to like 15K. It could just be people just rushing to post a lot and undercut really hard. That's one thing I didn't really understand. Like, by undercutting really hard, yes, you are making a lot more mesos immediately, but you're ultimately potentially wrecking the prices of a specific item. So just bear that in mind when you're posting. Don't undercut by too much. The most I would ever really undercut by is like 10%. Because if you do any more than that, of course it's gonna get sold out really quickly, but it's not, you're kind of losing a little bit. So it's up to you. This is my personal advice. Let's go over just the boxes really briefly. The cape boxes, you know, the life scale boxes. Again, it's about the same, not too much major movements. For the B4s for South America, it's right about 3 to 4 mil, and the healing pots and herbs aren't too bad actually. At 9K for a special white potion, it's actually pretty good relative to the other servers. There's actually a lot of patches in terms of the data, not because I was missing out, probably because people aren't fishing as much. Again, it's probably the earlier state, people want to be doing more active things. I'm assuming the player base is more focused on doing active things. Prices for pets, again, it's more reflective of early stages of North America West. It doesn't fluctuate too much. And your G3 snares are the same thing.